let's say hello. This is The Damned. We have Rat Scabies and Paul Gray from The Damned, aka Gizzi's favourite band in the world.
Can I just say that you have no idea, and I know you get this a lot because we've just been talking about weird fans. Hi, I'm a weird fan that you're going to get to sit next to. I was 15 years old. I went to see you at the Marquee about 94, 95, and I literally walked in. I was like, it changed my life. And I've just then I was a horrible. Yeah, well, exactly.
For the better, I hope.
Yeah.
It's a funny thing. You're not the first person to say that.
Yeah.
And but really, you don't have to do much to be a band. You kind of go your instinct. You do what you want to do, and then someone says you changed my life, and I don't want that kind of responsibility.
Got it.
Surely you have to do a lot to be in a band for 50 years, though. I know people have come in and out of the band over the years. There's been a lot of entrances and exits. But the fact 50 years down the line you're still here thank you so much, is pretty impressive, no?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I suppose.
Yeah.
Either that or very unimaginative.
Oh no, I would say the antithesis with you guys. I was actually watching your documentary last night, which was 15 years ago, which was insane. We were just talking. You were in South by Southwest.
I think I saw it premiere at South by Southwest documentary. Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Drinks. Oh my God, I've got sangria. We're in a really brand new restaurant. It's called Legado. It's run by Nieves Barragán, who is a little dynamo. She's been around for years. She was one of the very first women to have a Spanish Michelin Star. She got it in a restaurant called Barrafina, which is in town. It's like a really good counter tapas bar. It's phenomenal.
Oh, I know.
Do you know it?
I do. I've been in there.
Oh, it's so good.
The little omelette. Yeah.
You go to Michelin Star restaurants?
No, it was it was like a tapas bar around Soho.
Yeah, exactly.
There's
next
a
to
couple in
And everybody, you always had to queue up, and it was always really busy.
Could you not skip the queue with your rock and roll credentials?
Yeah, I do.
There we go.
I just quite often just barge my way to the front saying,
That's one way to do it.
I hope so. I really hope so. So she got a Michelin Star. She went out on her own and opened. You come in.
So this is Bodega Zatas Lias Finas, aged on the fine lees, like a slowly style.
Yeah, I believe you.
She got her own restaurant, which was a place called Sabor, which is tucked down behind.
It's on Heddon Street, isn't it? So that bit of like Mayfair, just off Regent Street. Heddon Street, famous because, isn't it? There's a Bowie album cover.
Yes.
That's shot on Heddon Street. It's the one where it says there's the K West sign.
Yeah.
What album is that? Is it Ziggy Stardust?
It's the
Ziggy
one.
Stardust,
Yeah. Are you Bowie fans?
I met him on a train once.
You met Bowie on a train?
I've got he's the only person I've ever asked for an autograph from.
What year was this?
1977.
Okay.
The band I was in, Eddie and Hot Roys, we did the last ever Mark Bolan TV show.
Oh, wow.
He was on it.
Yeah.
And we got a train back to London after it. And he had, because in Mark's show he had Bolan. Me?
Oh, yeah.
Ladies first.
No, you go. I trust you.
But hold that thought about Bowie.
I'll give that a 9.5.
Mike, I didn't know where that was going to go for a second.
I was really scared. My heart stopped.
That's a 9.5 out of 10, right?
9.5 out of 10. So we got so they were having this jam on the TV show, and they ran out of time. So we had to go back to London without filming our section.
Oh, right.
And David Bowie walked through the train carriage.
Amazing.
And he said, "Oh, Eddie and Hot Roys." He said, I'm sorry about that. He said, I haven't seen Mark for a couple of years, but he's having a bit of fun.
Okay.
I said, you boys hungry, thirsty? He said, well, yeah, just a bit. You've been in a television studio all day.
Yeah.
He had his own carriage at the back, but the toilet wasn't working. So he said, I'm just going to have a slash. I'll come back. I'll bring some food in for you.
I hope he washed his hands in between that.
I didn't ask him that.
I'm not that
But he
fast.
comes back with
Bowie, isn't it?
comes back with this big hamper full of, like, Sancerre, the first time I'd had anything apart from... what's that white wine that everybody used to drink?
Pinot Grigio.
Something like that. And smoked salmon sandwiches. And I'm from Southend, so it was like fish and chips and cockles.
So it's more than Blue Nun.
Blue Nun, that
Blue
was the
Nun,
one.
yeah.
Horrible stuff.
Okay, so you've got Bowie's hamper.
So he came and sat with us the entire journey back. Talked from everything from black holes in space to Sandinistas in South America.
Yeah.
And shared all his swag with us. And I said, can you sign the dinner plate? So I got to full Bowie 77.
Bloody
Yeah, only
hell.
person I've ever asked for an autograph.
Where is that dinner plate now?
In a box somewhere.
What about Iggy? You must have met Iggy a few times. Yeah? Does he? Like,
I haven't, right, obviously has, yeah.
No, he tried to punch me once, but...
Okay.
Did he?
I'd say that's a badge of honour, no?
You must have been little trying to get up there. That would have been fun. Run and jump.
Yeah, he can climb you.
Yeah.
What happens?
No, it's very old and boring, you know. But basically, I was. We were very big Iggy fans.
Yeah.
And we'd just done the first album and covered one of his songs on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've sort of said, "Hey, we've just covered one of your songs," and he completely ignored me. And so I said, "Hey, Iggy, you know, we just covered one of your songs. You know, we think you're great."
No.
Nothing at all. So then I was rude to him.
What year was that then?
Must have been 78.
78,
Yeah.
okay.
Around the time of
Were
Lust
you in
for
the
Life.
UK or in America?
America.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I was rude to him.
What
and
did
then
you say?
Something about he was only Bowie's lapdog.
Okay. And did that get his attention?
And then as he took a swing at me, two very large English gentlemen,
Okay.
one of them took him aside and the other one just said to me, "You're not going to do anything silly, are you, son?" And it was like,
Wow. No, not now.
It's like the biggest menu in London at the moment. Everyone's talking about it because the menu is monster. Do you have an affinity with Spanish food at all? Do you?
No.
Or Spain? No, none at all.
Today's the day to
Like
start.
Spanish food, kind of extensive paella, and that's about it.
Okay.
Wow.
With the meat bits taken out, because I don't eat meat.
You don't eat meat, right?
So fish
do you eat?
paella,
Yeah, you
but-
eat fish, don't you?
Yeah,
yeah.
Do you eat everything?
anything.
Anything.
Everything
Good
and
man. I
anything.
love that.
Unless you get really lucky and get time off when you're touring, and you happen to be touring somewhere,
Yeah.
and you happen to have time off, you really don't get that much chance to explore your culture and your food and your wines.
Yeah.
So you usually end up, you know, the closest hotel, restaurant, and you go in there and you're kind of, okay, this will do. It's expensive, you know,
Yeah.
it must be. But you don't really know anything about the food. It's
Yeah.
or you
I
don't
suppose it's
really-
more like substance. You're sort of like.
And you're in one town one night and somewhere else
It's
the next
getting the
night.
food in when you can.
But not
Right.
even on your holes. When you go on holiday, if you're going
Holes.
somewhere in like, have you been to Spain?
No, no. I end up in the south of France. a lot.
Oh, I love that.
And
That's a
sort of-
great
Lovely.
shout.
Yeah. You're close, especially if you're in like the Basque kind of area. South of France comes into like San Sebastian, and that's
Yeah.
where
I
the
do
food
like
down
the
there is-
Basque region.
Yeah, but Basque,
Okay.
some of the best food in is coming out of Basque country at the moment. We're seeing such a trend for Basque food.
Now, that was a paella to remember.
It was, yeah.
We played in the Basque country and we
Yeah.
arrived, there was a car on fire outside this basketball stadium.
Exciting.
And they had a basketball game on.
Yeah.
And we had this amazing promoter who was this guy in a wheelchair who had this incredible sense of humour and everything was... And he had this paella that, it was a 2-day cook.
Oh wow!
So he'd had to
making the
turn-
broth.
There's
and-
Poggio, San Sebastian, around there, wasn't it?
Somewhere
Yeah.
like that. But that,
The
you know...
seafood up there was
That's
fantastic.
probably one of my fondest memories of Spanish food was
Yeah.
in the basketball stadium with a burning
Oh,
car.
that sounds brilliant.
It sounds beautiful.
Yeah. What about you? Spain? Do much in Spain?
I go to Italy.
Go Italy.
Yeah,
That's good to know.
Tuscany, Umbria.
Yeah.
Monteriggione.
God. You've just come back from
I was in Tuscany at the end of last year. My
Yeah.
first time. It's just so beautiful.
I
the
just love everything
countryside.
about it. It's just
Yeah.
so laid back, peaceful. You can sense the history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the people are great.
Yeah.
There was a lot of, I think we were just at the end of some kind of season, so most places were shut, but we found this just like the smallest pizza parlour ever in the world. It was the best pizza I've ever had, with the best wine I've ever had, and it was, that's €10.
And this is the thing, you don't have to think too much because they hone it to you. The menus are tiny.
Yeah.
And you're just like, you sit there and you just get hospitality. which
It's
is
like
great.
food in Japan, it's not coming out if it's not incredible.
Yeah. We'd like to try the bacalao.
Yeah,
And do you have the milk-fed lamb's kidneys?
absolutely.
Yeah, I think we'll put those on. And also, they love, as a band, They love rice, the rice dishes. So the paellas, the
rice heavy
arroz.
band.
Yeah, I mean.
And then is there anything you want to put on there?
Well, you don't have paella, right?
No, but they've got arroz.
Arroz meloso, more of a wet style of rice.
It's actually nicer than paella.
Nieves has some great suggestions, like
Perfect.
a little more fish heavy for the whole table to share.
Okay, amazing. Thank you.
Hola, beautiful people. How are you? So excited. Nice to meet you. Welcome.
Old friends.
Welcome to the
Really good
Legado.
friends.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I can't wait to be cooking for you. I know you've been explaining the menu,
Yep.
but I'm going to be cooking. I'm going to show you the highlights of Legado.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Legado
Sounds
means
good.
legacy, and it's the collection of north to south, east to west culinary food in Spain. So if you don't mind, I'm going to make the menu for you. How it sounds that?
That sounds
Sounds good.
amazing.
Yes?
Yeah, Bess, I know whatever you do is going to be delicious.
Yes,
and
yes.
I'm
Let's
delighted
get the
with it.
highlights. Let's
Yeah.
get the
That's
highlights.
out of the way then.
Enjoy.
There we go. So Legado is in the middle of Shoreditch, and you recorded the album that we're out here to celebrate.
The first record was recorded in Stoke Newington.
Was it 50 years ago?
Islington, yeah.
Yeah, Islington, Stoke Newington,
Yeah.
which isn't far from here,
I
is
think-
it? How is the area? The area must have changed a hell of a lot. Like this building, I don't think
Well,
was
it's much
here
nicer.
10 years ago.
Never used to be nice,
No.
and there weren't many shops.
Yeah.
But I remember the studio in Wapping.
Oh.
We used to work at next to the Prospector Whitby pub.
I know exactly where you mean. In the big, they ended up taking it over, and it's now became a restaurant.
But when that was all big tower blocks, and the
Yeah.
only people who lived there were kind of musicians and artists, because it was cheap. Nobody wanted to be there.
Yeah.
Was it squats or was
And
it
then-
actual, like, were they just squats or were people paying very, very minimal
I think
rent?
it was both.
Okay, yeah.
Because the studio and the Smiths worked there quite a lot as well.
right.
But it was watching it gentrify
Yeah.
and going into the corner shop. And she was a lovely old girl, and this well-heeled lady coming in asking for aubergines. And this woman just going behind the counter going, "We don't really get the corn, love." You know, but just watching that slowly
And
change.
now everyone's got a bloody aubergine, and everyone's got an aubergine
can't
dish.
move.
Aubergine at the drop of a hat.
Can't move for aubergines. Yeah.
They're everywhere.
But I've got a question about that first album. Obviously, you weren't around in the band for the first record.
I wasn't for the first three, yeah.
But the first album, on the cover, you've obviously just had a food fight. What was that food, and why do you look so happy to have it all over your face?
Well, the truth is quite painful sometimes.
Go on.
Hit us with it.
They were, it was a regular flan base
Okay, yeah.
with tomato ketchup
That is bad.
and shaving cream.
Oh, no.
I kind of get the shaving cream.
Just wasn't edible.
No.
Yeah.
But I reckon, did some get in?
But it looked,
I feel like that's the least of their worries with the amount of piss and stuff that they used to get thrown at them.
it was a funny thing because we didn't know that was what it was going to be.
Yeah, whose idea was that photo shoot? The photographer?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
So you just turned up and you're like, here we are, looking all presentable for our shoot, and they're like, right, you're going to have a food fight. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm wearing my best leather jacket.
And no, it wasn't even that good. They just suddenly they were there, and I was like, oh, cool. They've made them some food. But they hadn't.
You
And
can
it,
eat for a change, yeah.
it was. I didn't like it at first. Not the being covered in food. That's always a fun thing.
Yeah.
You know, but when I looked at the pictures, I was like, oh, for sake.
No.
I want to
great
look like
cover.
I'm a proper rock star or something. But I suppose as it showed up, you know, that thing of an anti-image.
Yeah.
We don't want to be glamorous. We don't want
Yeah.
to be part of your thing.
Yeah.
But we could get away with it because we were better looking than the Sex Pistols.
Yeah, well, you were.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And also, you always had that thing, you kind of all sort of look a bit like could have been all from different bands.
Yeah,
There wasn't that kind of
No, it's
cohesive-
really interesting you say that. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's always been one of the band's problems was that we were told very early on
Yeah.
that any one of us could have our own career.
Well, you're all
Yeah.
frontmen, basically. Yeah.
And we all went, yeah, them. Who needs him? And we've always, and it's still there now, everyone in the band thinks they're the best one in the group.
Is it still the same? Do you
Yeah.
think?
Yeah.
So, I have a Queen Scallop ceviche
Yes, I'll take
and
that. Thank
olive
you.
oil and muscatel vinaigrette.
Is it a scooping in the gob number or more?
I think you can enjoy it just like an oyster, to be honest.
Just like an
It's straight
oyster.
from the
Yeah.
But band lineups are an evolutionary thing.
Yeah.
And it's, tell it to Fleetwood Mac. You just kind of, everybody moves at a different pace, and there were certainly times when I just didn't really want to be a part of what it was.
Sure.
And
Well, I mean, over 50 years, it's a very long-term relationship, isn't it, to be with the same people for 50 years?
I know, full of spite and hatred and bitterness. We didn't know what we were doing,
Yeah.
so it was really easy.
Yeah.
Because you just had to say, well, we don't know what we're doing, so we're just going to do what we can that makes it sound like music, that
Yeah.
makes it sound right.
Is that kind of like fake it till you make it thing as well? You sort of act like you know what's going on.
To a degree.
Then it sort of just works out.
It's not saying nobody, was without talent. It wasn't anything like that. It was just that sometimes you go, that, I wonder what will happen if I press that button and make that sound like that. Will it be great? Will it be rubbish?
Yeah.
And quite often it turns out to be great, And what you really need is the freedom with a band around you to say, that
Press
is
that
great.
button. Yeah. Do it.
Because there's nothing worse than being original, because when you're original, nobody's heard what you've done before.
Paul, before you joined the band, were you a fan? Were you all friends or? Just tell me.
Delicious, isn't it?
Out of all the bands, because my band started at the same time as
Yeah.
the Dam. So we used to play the same places, Nashville, Hope and Anchor.
Was the Nashville was a venue in West London?
Yeah.
West Kensington.
We're still there.
Kensington. Is it?
Called the Six Kings or something now.
Okay.
Still the Fuller's pub, but the live bit's gone. And out of all the bands that kind of came together around that time, the Dam were the ones that me and my band always loved.
Yeah.
Just because they were same on stage and off stage, you never quite knew what was going to happen.
Okay, and that was exciting.
So we used to go to each other's shows and like heckle them, end up crashing each other's sort of flats after.
Were you at the 100 Club shows? Those
No,
kind of.
I
Okay.
wouldn't know that one. But I always loved the Dam. Just the attitude was fantastic. We always got on great as well. But
Okay.
there's no about them.
Yeah.
But none of the bands were the same.
Yeah.
So we weren't competing for the same audience, or we didn't think we were.
Yeah.
They all had a totally different. You name all of those early bands, the Jam, the Hot
Yeah.
Rods,
Thank you.
the Dam, the Pistols, the Clash,
Yeah.
Stranglers. None of them sounded the same.
Yeah.
No.
And what took you to America before the other bands?
CBGB's was a very big influence. But none of the New York bands had records out. So nobody ever. So we'd get Punk magazine.
Sorry to interrupt, just to let you know, because we have some more food coming. We have a monkfish tempura with a chili jam
Oh,
on
wow.
it. This is one of the few dishes that we carried across from Subway. An absolute classic. Isn't it?
Amazing.
This is delicious.
This is outrageous, isn't it? Bread and blooming. Well,
Who'd have thought?
Yeah.
Bread and tomato, just the best. It is one of my favourite things on earth, though. Like,
And with a little ham on the top as well for the meaty side of the table.
Yeah.
Delicious. So yeah, you go to New York. How did you even hear about CBGB's before? Because obviously you're not on Instagram. You're not finding out. Was it through NME? Was it through Music Max? No.
No,
Okay. Oh, wow.
there was a record store in Praed Street in
Yeah.
Paddington,
Okay.
which was round the corner from Nissan Grove Dole office.
Okay.
And
Okay.
there were no punk records.
Yeah.
I mean, the nearest thing was Metallic KO, which came out just around slightly before that. It was done by this French guy, Mark Zamassi, him and his partner Larry DeBay, and they ran this record store. And had these two kids that used to just break Amyl nitrate behind the counter.
oh my God.
And then they'd put on like Blue Oyster Cult, Fear the Reaper. or
So you're like, I'll have this record and a bottle of that. Thanks.
And
Off we go.
But they also had punk magazines, so we'd go in there and what's
Yeah.
new, what's happening, and they kept a bunch of MC5 and Stooges records as
Okay,
well.
yeah.
Radio Birdman and all of those sort of cool stuff.
So in meeting Iggy, as we said earlier, was there actually a bit of like,
Were you starstruck?
Yeah, for sure. But, you know, like I say, none of them had a record out, so you had to guess what Blondie sounded like.
Yeah.
You had to guess what the Ramones sounded like. You couldn't. All we had was photographs.
So when you went to New York for the first time, did you see these bands play and be like, oh, that's what they sound like? Oh, that's all right, actually. Who impressed you the most when you went over there? Who was the band?
Always the Ramones.
Always.
Yeah.
Well, they were just the absolute shit.
Did you get to hang out with them when you were there? Yeah.
I mean, I think
Who was your favourite Ramone?
Joey.
everyone's favourite Ramone. But I think that there's an element of like how you guys presented yourself like a band. There's something in the Ramones that was not as serious as all the other punk bands.
The Ramones.
And you guys sort of had that a bit.
The Ramones were totally cool as people.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I used to really like Tommy as well, the drummer. He was a very cool guy.
Yeah.
You know.
But that like inspiration they had from the girl groups as well was incredible, and that kind of Phil Spector stuff which I would assume maybe at the time wasn't cool.
And Herman's Hermits.
Exactly, yeah, they're drawing from so many sources.
First time I met them face to face was in a Soho record store.
Yeah.
And they were just creaming everything that was shitty 70s glitter glam pop. I mean, you know, they were, you know, they really knew. And what the Ramones did was one of the hardest things on earth, which is to take a 3-chord song and make it different every track.
Yeah.
And a different dynamic. And they really nailed it, you know.
I can't think of a sort of British punk band at the time who came out of that scene who was so fun as well, other than you guys. You know, I think part of that was maybe like, you know, that was kind of like sharing that identity a bit with them, maybe.
I was really lucky. I shared a flat with the two guys who ran Bizarre Records that Rat was talking about.
Did you?
Yeah, Hammersmith Grove, Tim and Larry. So I got to hear all the, you know, Richard Hell television and the Ramones before anybody else did.
Yeah.
Could you bring him back from the shop and put him on his massive
quickly put
homemade speaker stereo system?
Yeah.
So that was my kind of education. You'd read about it in the back of Chris Welch's column in the back of Melody America. You just sort of, because nobody was writing very much about it in the mainstream press, you know, not the Enemy, not Sounds, not Melody America.
Everybody thinks
little teasers.
Sniffing Glue was the fancy.
Well, that was
later.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
But everybody thinks when it was 1976, the whole world suddenly went punk rock and embraced it.
Yeah.
They didn't. We were so unpopular.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone else was status quo and heavy rock and prog rock.
Or hair bands.
Yeah,
but then also you had like Hawkwind and Lemmy, who I know ended up doing quite a lot of stuff with the Damned.
Yeah, but
Hawkwind were great though. I mean, they were always anti-establishment.
Cool
You know, they
Yeah.
were punking
But they were like kind of free parties in the middle of the forest.
And that
doing
first
stuff like that,
Motorhead
Stonehenge.
album was a punk album, wasn't it?
Yeah.
but cool people are cool.
Yeah, that's it.
That's
Next up we have Galician octopus.
Have you had octopus before?
I have, but it's usually quite chewy, isn't it?
No, if it's cooked properly. Are you okay with octopus? You had it before?
I am. Although I did watch a film
Did you
about
watch it? I watched that film.
I can't watch it because I
And I
know it'll
thought,
stop
No.
me eating octopus,
I'm
and I
never
love
gonna eat it
octopus.
again, but
He's
as
a
it's
nice
here.
little mate, that guy. He was really cuddly.
Like my octopus teacher. Is that what it's
Yeah,
called?
exactly.
Yeah, I can't go in.
I mean, it looks absolutely delicious. So.
But yeah, octopus can, if it's cooked badly, it's very chewy and not nice. But if it's cooked well, which I assume it is here, it's
Food for it. Wow,
I always like the crispy.
that is
end bit.
so good.
Isn't it?
It's like meat. Tastes meaty almost.
The thing I hate about cookery programs is the poor audience can never taste it.
And everyone's
So
going,
you only ever
it's
get,
delicious.
oh, this is
So we'd be
delicious.
like at
And I'm
home.
like, yeah, but they might be lying.
Do you cook now?
I do a bit. I do a very popular cassoulet.
Oh, that's a good
cassoulet.
shout. Beans and sausage and bacon. Oh,
Bit of pork belly.
yeah.
Toulouse sausages, if
Yeah.
you know
Oh,
where to
you
get
know
them.
what's what.
Well, I spent a fair amount of time in that
Beautiful.
that region of France,
Yeah.
and so I got a cheats recipe.
Oh,
and
okay.
But it was it's just quite easy to do, you know, and
Just whack it all
takes
in.
a long time.
Yeah.
So I'm occupied for the day, you know, you have to cook everything. And I've got a really good butcher's near me that does this really great Toulouse sausage. £2 a f***ing sausage though. I mean,
Wow. Yeah.
I mean,
In this economy,
I mean, that sounds good, like good value to me.
But, well, yeah.
Yeah. London prices being as they are right now, that's a good deal.
I just got into this thing of like, you know, the wife always did the cooking, and it was like, it's not really fair, and plus maybe, why can't I do that?
Yeah.
And so I did a lot of things with mince.
A lot of things with
That's
mince.
what I was brought up on.
What's your favourite thing to do with mince?
That's a great name for a book.
My favourite thing with mince is...
You don't have to answer that.
Oh, all right. Perhaps best not to. No, it's chili con carne, but chili, but I like putting in a proper
Raisin
real
bit.
chilies.
A real, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
We've
Give
got
it
a shop that will sell them to you individually.
Yeah.
So you can get a Scotch bonnet for like
Yeah.
30 pence or something.
Yeah.
But the real thing is I like fruit in food.
Do you? That's interesting because every boyfriend I've ever gone out with, it's their number one thing is they don't eat fruit in food.
No,
And I love it. Do you like it?
Pineapple chunks dried in a chili.
Oh, wow.
And you just leave them in there for a while and they soften up, and I think they're a great surprise while you're eating.
To be fair, when I was little, my mum used to make a curry with banana in it.
What?
But also, my other thing is deep frying
Oh, yeah.
steak.
You what? Come on, tell me about this.
You get the deep fat fryer really hot.
Right.
You dunk your steak in it for about a minute and a half.
Yeah.
Okay.
Both sides crispy, burnt, brown, absolutely delicious. Pink in the middle.
I'm going to do this.
I'm going to come round and
we're
eat
going to experience it.
Okay.
I feel...
What do we call it? Like scabies steak or
Yeah,
something?
yeah.
I wanted to open
Steak
a
scabies.
Steak a la scabies.
I wanted to open a steakhouse that I was going to call the Holy Grill.
Because you're looking for something, aren't you?
Well, I do a bit of...
Have you found it yet? Have you found the Holy Grail
found
yet?
several.
Oh,
More treats for you.
Oh, wow.
yummy. Gosh.
This
It's
is
a lovely-
our black fideuà, broken angel heart
You might have to be rolled onto stage later on.
So sorry.
Luckily, we don't have to
served
play
it
in
with
it.
Not
fried rock
playing it, it's just designing, isn't
alioli.
it? So you're saying
I
like
couldn't catch quite what you said that was.
it's
but-
fideuà, so it's basically a version of paella,
Oh.
but it's made with squid ink and a very strong fish stock, and then it's got like the scampi bits on it, and that's an aioli, and it's really, really.
Scampi bits,
It's a very
fantastic.
famous dish, and it's
You've
so
got your meat one coming scabies.
yeah.
But I mean, this is
You can
also...
share this with us.
This is very
Oh,
goth.
too good.
It's very
you're
cool.
all right.
This seems quite David Vanian.
Yeah, it's
right?
a shame Dave isn't here
Yeah, but
to
he is now.
appreciate the goth
He is
food.
now.
This is arroz campero. So the rice itself is cooked at the roasted mushroom bonito topped with Iberico Legato.
Yum.
Thank you.
Yum, this is delicious.
Incredible.
So good.
Yeah, this too.
It tastes less goth than it looks. It's like quite sweet and
Yeah.
uplifting.
It's actually very light as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks heavy, but it's beautiful.
Oh, that's so good. That is so good.
It's really good.
This is Iberico pork, which is served pink. So it's really...
A good vet could bring that round in a...
Okay, so we have some lamb cutlets Milanese.
Yeah,
We've garnished it with some capers, some blush tomato, calamato olive,
yeah.
and something for yourself, sir. We have anchovy brioche, so we're showcasing Cantabrian anchovy, the wit smoked in fresh ricotta mousse and lemon zest.
Thank you so much. I'm like literally was trying to be elegant, but I'm going to go in.
I think it's a hand... Yeah, I was going to say it's a hand job, but
It's a
that's
hand
not what I
job.
meant.
It's a hand job.
This is the last of our savoury offerings for this afternoon. So it's a skate wing tortilla.
Oh, wow.
Flavoured with mojo verde, a green herb condiment from the Canary Islands, and finished with a touch of chili ancho.
Wow.
Thank you. That's
Skate
beautiful.
wing.
Skate wing something.
Tortilla.
Whoa.
That's a genius.
Oh,
Is that delicious? Oh my God. All right, come on, after you. I'm going to serve.
sensational.
All the
Yeah.
best bands were funny.
Yeah, they have a sense of humour. And they can...
Festivals, funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I've decided
Oh, shoot.
thank you, darling.
Blasting away.
Yeah.
via someone else's thing that you can break down most of the world in funny and not funny.
Who was not funny?
Like bands
Clash.
who take themselves
Like-
too seriously.
Patti Smith, not funny.
Sorry, but
She's great, but
You
you're
love
right,
her.
she's not funny.
She's not a laugh.
Tom Verlaine, not funny.
Oh, really?
No.
It works.
What about Richard Hell?
Oh, Richard Hell's surely
I'm not
funny.
sure he's
Or
funny.
just handsome.
No, no, not funny.
Not funny. Is this once again? Is it
The Ramones definitely funny.
Funny.
Yeah.
So we're saying most Americans not funny. New York Dolls?
No.
Oh, New York
Funny?
Dolls funny.
New York Dolls were funny.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Iggy?
Blondie were funny. Iggy, I'd say, was funny.
Yeah.
But nobody wants to be not funny.
No, it's the worst thing in the
Even if
world.
you ask, like, one of the Jam, is Paul Weller funny? Paul Weller will say, yeah, I'm funny. But
Not funny. But I
nobody
want to
wants-
keep this going.
Okay, we just like rattle off names of people.
Yeah, I know.
I wanted to turn this into a TV show. Funny, not funny.
Okay, Guns N' Roses, funny or
Not
not?
funny.
Not
Not funny. Oh no.
Sorry, babe.
Okay. Yeah.
Bruce Springsteen.
Not funny.
Oh God.
Do you need him to ask?
Yeah, definitely not funny.
I'll leave. I'll
Do you?
I'll
What
get my
about
coat.
Devo? Do you ever hang out with them?
Funny,
Yes.
Yeah, of
Bullshit. B-52s.
funny.
Funny. Yeah. Exactly.
What about Courtney?
Courtney Love?
She's petrifying.
Not funny.
Not fun.
Have you met her?
Once.
And what happened?
She dumped the baby on me and Joe Strummer and top for 3 days.
We're going to need more information
What?
about that.
What did you do with this baby?
We were,
That's a crossing.
me and Joe, we've been in the studio for a while and he'd booked some rooms at the Mondrian.
Okay.
In LA.
We were, yeah, and we were out by the pool. Our first day off, and that bloke turned up first. What was his name?
Not Kurt.
No, he was cool. But anyway, she turned up with Beanie, or
Francis
Bean. Yeah.
and then just took off with this bloke down at the chalets. He was a singer. He was.
Oh, it wasn't from Smashing Pumpkins.
Yeah, it
was
could have been. What's his name?
Oh, Billy Corgan.
Was it
yeah.
Billy Corgan?
No, I don't think it
Oh,
was
okay.
him.
Was it Eddie Vedder?
No.
Okay.
So we went down to the studio to get,
Yeah.
carry on, and then we got.
With baby?
No, we left the
Okay.
baby with Joe's wife.
Right, okay. The baby wasn't just by the pool.
Well, it was though.
Sort of, in a way.
And then his missus rang up a few hours later and said, I don't know what to do, I've still got a baby here. And
You're like, I suppose
she's
keep
vanished.
It.
And yeah, so
Okay.
we put it in some funny clothes.
What clothes did you put it in?
Didn't.
Oh, I would have.
Just put in a little leather
Just dressed
jacket.
it up. I mean, I've got a cat.
A little
It does-
lumberjack shirt.
Oh, I'd have just put her in some merch, put her in a little damn shirt, rep the band.
But that was, seriously, and luckily there were people around, who were like, okay, we're used to dealing with Courtney and this.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
isn't the first
And they
time
took,
They're
this
all,
has happened.
and they took Beanie,
yeah.
Yeah. Beanie Baby.
Francis Bean,
Oh.
and then a day or so later, she claimed him back.
Okay, so it was a memorable time, the time you met Courtney Love.
Well, I didn't really meet her. She just sort of breezed past me.
By
The time you met her
Foxy.
child.
But I remember the Joe's funeral when she threw herself over his coffin,
Oh.
and it was like you didn't really know him.
No,
did you?
no.
Oh, wow, that's quite a bold
Performative.
move, isn't it?
But he was great. You see, I really loved Joe. I really loved working.
And
with
was
Joe.
he a guy, like a West London pub guy as well? Is that how you knew him from that?
Well, his background was a bit more sophisticated. but
Right.
Generally, he lived in squats and he was very aware of himself,
Okay.
But very, very funny.
Yeah.
Joe Strummer, funny.
Uh-huh.
And those few months I spent working with him were really some of the best I ever had.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because, first of all, you were punk rock royalty. It didn't matter where you went, everybody was.
Doors opened. And,
Yeah, and I remember going to see Ministry.
I love Ministry.
Oh,
They're one of my other
this is-
favourite bands.
And,
This is a you thing.
Yeah, very much a me thing.
and
Not
hooking
quite a
up
me
with-
thing.
And then hooking up with Timothy Leary after the show.
Right.
What?
And going back to the hotel and meeting Al Jorgensen and hanging out with him.
Can we go back to the Timothy? Sorry,
Yeah.
one second. You met Timothy Leary at a Ministry show.
Yeah.
And did he give you any of his...
Well, I helped him into his car and I went back with him.
Okay, and obviously a fan of psychedelic substances. Did he open up a little briefcase and offer you anything?
He spoke more about the space program.
Okay,
so things had moved on
and
slightly.
And how it was all kind of unnecessary, you know, the whole Star Wars thing. And how it didn't really work and it was an offensive weapon and not a defensive weapon.
Yeah.
So I spoke to him about that and helped him out of his wheelchair. And we went up to Al Jorgensen's room.
Yeah.
And I knocked on the door and he opened the door and he had a tourniquet around his arm in his teeth.
Oh.
And a syringe between every knuckle.
Whoa!
And he opened the door and he said, "Come on in, Rat. I've been expecting you."
Nice. Like, do you want 10 minutes? You look like you're busy. No.
It was absolutely brilliant. And he was one, Al Jorgensen, funny.
I found Joe really serious. He was always really serious.
He used to leave notes all around the studio because we were working on a Disney film.
Right.
And you come in the morning, there'd be a note by the phone like, "You're all
What
fired."
Disney film were you working on?
Grosse Point Blank.
Right. Okay. So
not the Little Mermaid.
I was like.
I'll tell you the most punk thing I think he did. His first band was called the 101. It was like a pub rock band. It was like my band. And we used to play together at Nashville.
Yeah.
And they'd be supporting us. And he'd come in with his, like, he had long hair at the time and his dog on a rope. And he was kind of living in a caravan or something, this sort of scruffy old band and scruffy old missus and that. And we just bought a couple of monitors, these things called monitors, so that RC could actually hear what he was doing.
Yeah.
So Joe goes, "What are them boxes on the stage there, Barry?" He goes, "Oh, monitors." So what do they do? I said, "Oh, they're great. You can aim yourself for all that racket that they're playing." He said, "Oh, I think I might get some of them." And next week he turned up and he had this Jaffa orange crate and there was a 10-inch speaker screwed into the crate.
Oh, bless him.
With a couple of wires coming out with no plug on the end of it. And he'd written in felt pen, "Monitor." So nobody would actually think it's a piece of old crap and chuck it away.
He's funny.
And then he went to see the Sex Pistols.
Yeah.
And next show he turned up, he'd sat the band, he'd cut all his hair off.
And joined the Clash.
And that was it.
Shall we get the dessert menu?
I think
Yes.
they're sending pudding.
Oh, they're sending pudding. No choice.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay.
So the other thing we ask is like we were asking for everyone's sort of like favourite restaurants. If you were to kind of come, if you were going to come into London for one day, what?
No, you had more than one day because it sounds like if you got one day you can't do anything.
I'll probably come back here again, actually.
So tell if your top 3 restaurants, if we had to ask you, first of all, London.
They're all very variable.
Yeah.
Because there's really good Indian restaurant I go to in Hackney.
What's it called?
It's called
Is that one on the
Pure.
bridge you were saying about?
Okay. Yeah.
And the story goes that when that bloke in Anton Deck had that car crash,
I believe that was Ant.
and they paid off, they opened this restaurant called Pure,
Right.
which is right by Putney Bridge.
Okay.
Amazing food. I mean, you know, consistently amazing. And I think one of the issues I always have is if I go there and it's not good food every time I go there, then why would you bother?
Why risk it again? But this place,
I think that's one of my
good
best
every time.
food places.
And what's your curry order? Do you always have the same setup? Are you a rice guy or are you a naan bread guy?
They're both.
Yeah.
Everything.
Everything. One of everything.
It's the one thing that if you're vegetarian, vegan, you know you're going to
I
be
go for ball tea, prawn ball tea, vegetable ball tea,
But I was going vegetarian a year or so every time I go in there, I'd always get my mate who's another vegetarian, and we just order a bunch of stuff.
Well, this is it. You can really go to town with Indian food.
And I don't know what it is. You know,
but you know that it's good
I spent some time
if
in
it's
Birmingham
good.
in the mid-'80s, and they had we went to Buzzell Heath, which is where the Balti started. They had table nans, which were literally as big as a table.
Whoa.
And they bring the Baltis in a little silver dish, like 99 pence a pound or something.
Oh, wow.
It's massive, great table nan, just rip bits off. Absolutely fantastic.
That sounds good.
So Birmingham, Bradford would be the place to go for me.
Is it a curry mile?
I think I'm going to like this.
Yeah, I think it's called curry mile. Yeah.
Oh.
Okie dokie.
Okay, Shoreditch.
Show me a freshly fried churros.
Wow.
Amazing.
And everybody gets their own pot
Oh, wow.
of spice.
That's the quality.
Dulce de leche.
Oh, my gosh.
Utilizing every winter spice and mash.
Does
Yeah, it's
put
good.
star anise in mine
Yeah.
as well.
I mean,
There's that kind of
is
Szechuan spice, like
that is
the
absolutely
heat. That's really good.
delicious.
Isn't it?
Can we do a shot? I'm going to drink the leftovers.
Do a
of that.
shot. Should we do a shot? No, no, no.
We could do a shot.
Well, you just put tequila in it.
Oh, yeah, should we put some tequila in that?
Jesus Christ.
You know what? That is a very good idea. Would you do it if we had tequila in it?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah,
Oh,
go
okay.
on.
Are we pouring this into there?
I'm-
Will it
yeah.
curdle?
Life really.
I'd go that way to that way.
All right.
I'm going to wait and see what happens.
Okay, right. It won't curdle, no.
Okay.
But let's go like this.
All right.
Fingering my drink.
What a way to finish. Oh,
Middle finger
good
and everything.
Lord.
Let me show yours.
It looks like the perfect colour of a cup of tea there, actually.
It is a perfect cup of tea. We can just pretend.
Got
Right,
that.
Yeah,
come on
you
then.
don't have to.
I'll do a
But I
little
will.
bit.
Oh, it's a lime.
I think it's a line.
I'm going to give it a little.
I'll
Now,
pass
little
the
bit of
line and
tea.
just
when
go
you
for
neck
the-
something like this, surely you should have the spout.
Yeah, let's go down the spout.
Down the spout.
Spout down the
Cheers.
spout.
Down
Thank
the
you
spout.
so much
Yes,
for
thank
coming.
you.
Yeah.
It's been lovely.
Oh my God, what are we doing? What a
Your
stupid
pretty
bet.
head, it just.
I bet we all
turns.
bath.
Oh, jeez.
That was
That
delicious.
is good, isn't it?
downhill from that
It has
onwards.
curdled a bit. Okay, back on to
Okay, we're going to have to go to quick fire. Best go to pudding. What's your favourite pudding?
Favourite pud.
Oh, sticky toffee.
Yeah.
The French one with the pears.
Oh my God. Like a poire.
You know, where
oh,
they just, it's a bit of puff pastry
Bit
and
of
a
puff,
few
yeah.
pears.
I know exactly what you mean, and I should know this, but I'm pissed. Restaurant you're dying to try.
Oh,
Is there any way you really want to go?
I wanted to try Heston Blumenthal's just to tell him that he's a and so you try.
Anyway, thank you. Thank you so much. This was.
Yeah, all right.
Did you have a nice time?
Yeah.